some years ago, Ruth can say how many, God, 5-6 years ago, maybe. Anyways, Sam and I heard the music from her Interfaith musical that came to her without her looking for it as she would walk. She just started having these lyrics and melodies come to her. And a friend in the musical business said, gosh, you're writing songs. So fast forward all these years, Sam and I are just crazy about her lyrics, her music, the story, about interfaith. And so she's moving forward now into putting this into production as a musical. And so I'm just thrilled to have her here. So welcome.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you. You are my family, and I decided that I would take you backstage with me this morning, to use a theatrical term, and share a little bit about what led to not just the musical, but the choices I made in life, my path. And I wanted to share what happened to me. It must have been about 20 years ago. I did a weekend seminar with Jean Houston, who you may know is a visionary and a futurist. And she did a very interesting experiment with us. She gave us on a piece of paper a labyrinth, and she asked us to put the key moments in our lives of either a realization or the things we had done, and then to look at the labyrinth and to see that there actually was a clear path to where we were at the moment and where we had come from. And I started thinking about that because it didn't seem to me that that was true in my life, but she was absolutely correct. I realized that I had been involved in high school in 3 different social groups. You know, at a time when everybody forms cliques and people have their own jackets with the names of the clubs on the back. Well, I belonged to 3 clubs, and none of them recognize the others, but I used to move back and forth between them and enjoy the fact that I could do that. And I studied journalism and political science. I spent 1 semester in Mexico, fell in love with the Latin culture, and then I ended up traveling for a year and a half in Latin America, in 19 countries, 54 cities. And that exposed me to not just another culture, but to the notion of our shared humanity. Because when I stayed with families, mostly when I traveled, not in hotels, and I had dinner with the families, I got to know their kids and so forth. And I was constantly amazed at the fact that, you know, the same problems I had in my family, they were having in their family. And so there was this unifying factor that I felt wherever I went, whoever I met. And then I came back. I lived in New York for a while. I worked for the Associated Press. And then I went to Europe, lived there for a while, in Italy. And then I ended up taking a boat to Israel, I thought for just a short time. And I stayed there for 10 years. And I became very involved in the Palestinian-Israeli peace groups. And it was very personal to me, the fact that there was so much conflict in the Middle East, because first of all, I have family there. And also one of my friends, when I first arrived, and I went to study at an Ulpan, which is an intensive training to teach Hebrew. One of my close friends from that group was a Palestinian young woman, and I ended up spending weekends at her house with her family. And of course, the big joke about that was that her parents, who spoke Arabic and didn't speak English, had lived in Nicaragua for many years. And so I was able to speak to her parents in Spanish. But my friend Vida knew English and Hebrew and Arabic. She couldn't understand. So there was always someone in the group that couldn't understand. We were trading languages. But again, we were able to understand one another. And the feeling, the affection that was there was meta, beyond all language. So I got married there. My son was born there. I came back to the States. And now I want to share a short video with you, which will tell you something about my official entree into the interfaith world, where it became more than just something I cared about personally, where it became something that I was staking my life on. It's called My Love Affair with Interfaith. I want to tell you how my love affair with interfaith began some 30 years ago. So I had this wild idea in 1991 to create an interfaith Seder. And I ended up inviting 85 people. It was Passover, and although it's the Jewish holiday, many people have found that Passover is very magnetic. It brings people together because it's a celebration of liberation from oppression. And so everybody can identify with that. It doesn't matter how you call God or if you even believe in God. That is a human expression that we can all cherish. And after that happened, I was led to meet an extraordinary African-American minister, Dolores Gray, and she and I found that we had a lot in common. And after a series of conversations, something happened, something, I guess, revelatory happened, and we decided that we would create what may have been the first interfaith peace pilgrimage to the Holy Land. We wanted to bring, in particular, the Black and the Jewish community together because we had been such good friends during the civil rights movement. But also, since then, there had been a chasm developing. We wanted to repair that. But we invited many people. And the idea was that we would travel from Cairo through the Sinai Desert to Jerusalem. We would share our faith stories. And traveling together and dialoguing, we would have a chance to develop trust and understanding and fulfill our curiosity about one another. And in Jerusalem, we had, as a culminating event, we had the Universal Freedom Seder, in which all of the pilgrims participated, but also we invited people from all over the world to join us.
About 50 people, Israelis, Arabs, Indians, Sri Lankans, Ethiopians, Jews and Muslims, Christians and Hindus, participated in a universal Seder called a Festival of Freedom at Beit Shmuel in Jerusalem. The Seder was led by Rabbi Zalman Schachter Shlomi, leader of the Jewish spiritual renewal movement in the United States.
This is a Seder of the future, not a Seder of the past. We are using the template of the past in order to dream of the miracle of the future that's possible.
People of all faiths, races, and ethnic backgrounds sat together. The traditional Haggadah was revised. The Seder plate included an olive branch for hope, and the prayers included readings from the Quran and the Lord's Prayer. A prayer shawl decorated with the personal messages of peace by the participants provided background. The event was organized by a Jewish filmmaker and an African-American minister.
I got 3 prophecies from people that I did not know that said that I would be leading the most unique and unusual tours to Israel, and it would include African-American Jews, Muslims, and Catholics, and that's precisely what we're doing here tonight at Beit Shmuel.
The notion of it came from the traditional Passover Seder, but this is something totally new and different.
Memorial candles were lit in memory of the people of many nations who were killed, and the hope was expressed that peoples in all the troubled spots of the world, and Jews and Arabs, could begin a new chapter of peaceful coexistence.
The story of the Jewish people freedom is described in many occasions in the Holy Quran. And if there is anything we desperately need, it's for us, the children of Abraham, the cousins, to come back together.
The children of Abraham are about to become reconciled.
And we did it in 93, 94, 95. And then again, I organized one in the year 2000. And whenever we were together, Dolores and I, Christian and Jew, Black and white, people would look at us and they would say, well, this is really amazing, but who sponsored this? And she and I would look at each other and we'd turn back and we'd say, God. And then people would say, no, really. And then we'd look at each other and we'd turn back and we'd say, no, really, because it was God inspired. And I think anybody who works in the interfaith community will have to agree with me that whatever work we do is God inspired. So you're starting to get the sense of what was happening. I was working with an African-American minister, a Black woman, and the idea was to create a new experience for people through the pilgrimage, traveling together, where you get to know someone in a very intimate way that you don't if you just meet them in the city where you live. And there were difficulties on the trip. It wasn't all smooth and sweet and lovely. There were times when some of the people were not even talking to one another, and where I had to rescue a situation that had turned really sour when a man who was Buddhist made a comment about one of the Christian ladies' beliefs, and they ended up walking on opposite sides of the street, and it was challenging, but I didn't stop doing it because I realized that that's where the rubber meets the road, that we're going to have to do this if we're going to make any progress. So when I came back from those trips, I became very involved in the Southern California Parliament of the World's Religions. I was one of the founders. And I felt that we had to create new activities that, again, would depart from the usual panel discussions and the sort of, how should I say, academic approach to interfaith. And I was always looking for either artistic or how should I say, aesthetic or new approaches to interfaith. And one of the ideas I had was to create an event for meditation, where we would encourage people to meditate. And we brought 16 different meditating communities from all over the city, and they shared their practices. And then the following year, we decided we wanted to have social action included and to create a bridge between those two communities. And we invited Marianne Williamson to come and speak and talk about the nexus between spirituality and social action. So, and all this time I was making films, and I was writing for the Interfaith Observer, which is an online interfaith magazine that I wrote over 50 articles for them about places all over the world that I visited where I found interfaith communities. And so as you can see, I was totally wrapped up in interfaith, but it was always through what I thought were my media, my personal media, which was filmmaking and writing. And then, as Mary Grace described to you, I started walking, and I was getting all these melodies and lyrics in my head, and I couldn't figure out why, until it dawned on me that this was the next phase of what I was supposed to do. This was the phase of reaching mainstream. And how better than to bring these ideas in an entertaining way to the stages of the world and to schools, to colleges and high schools and so forth, so that the ideas of interfaith would not be limited to this, how should I say, sacrosanct group of people who were doing this work around the world, who were in the minority. And most of the time, people didn't even know what interfaith was. When I started working in this field, they thought it was when a Christian man was marrying a Jewish woman. But these songs gave me an idea that there was another avenue, another door to enter, in which we could bring people along, people who had never considered this before, and they would become entranced by the music, and they would start to examine their values and their attitudes towards other people in the world. I'm going to share another video now that's called Celebrating Our Diversity in Song.
What if, when you awoke, you could imagine not being right? What if we all could see the beauty of one expanding humanity? What if?
shoes? What if, when you awoke, you shared your enemy's extremist views?
We have more in common than we knew. We have more in common than we knew. We're a Muslim and a Jew, but we have more in common than we knew. What if my children go astray? What if they choose another way?
I'm spiritual, but not religious.
Oh my God, she's delirious. I'm a Buju. I'm Buddhist and I'm Jewish. I'm a Buju.
Because there ain't no monopoly on spirit. You preach end times just cause you fear it.
Let's make room at the table. We can stretch it if need be, until everyone is seated at the table of humanity.
Hi, I'm Ruth Broyde Sharone, creator of INTERFAITH, the musical. And like all of you, I am very concerned about the state of the world and the state of our earth, our Pachamama. And so as I was writing the musical, I felt compelled to include a song about the environment. Not just because of my own personal concern, but because I've also seen how the interfaith movement has rallied behind the cause of confronting this environmental crisis, putting aside all of their religious differences to come together in common cause. After all, we are all the custodians of the earth. And because I always knew that the cast of the musical would be made up of people of vastly diverse backgrounds, I was especially pleased to find two very talented Asian Americans, Leo and Jason, one a singer, one a rapper, who would perform this song. Right now, the world is embroiled in so much racism and religious violence, and we have seen a rise in anti-Asian sentiment across America. It's very, very disturbing. And so this song, when I wrote it, seems especially relevant now. So I'd like to invite you into the recording studio with Casey DeGirdas, my arranger and music director, and you'll have a chance to hear the two young men rehearsing It's Not a Game. Enjoy. Thank you.
You have stripped the forests of their trees. You have robbed the coral from the seas. Compromise the honeybees. You're to blame, bear the shame. It's not a game. You have hungry children left to feed. You consume resources you don't need, and you justify your global greed. You're to blame, bear the shame, it's not a game. What have you done to the earth, my friends? Where did you go wrong? And what will your life be worth, my friends, when the swallow cannot sing her sweet song? What have you done to your soul, my friends? You have lost your way. You cannot make things whole, my friends, if we are living just for today.
What's the cost of your global onslaught? What's the lot of the cattle that you slaughtered just to stay on top? Lost are the eras of the wild and free. Now we face the brink of the next Pleistocene, and the scene is grim. The odds of our survival run from low to slim. And you leveraged our forest for recordings and a mortgage. I hear those who came before us raise their witness like a chorus. Consider the rivers that once flowed here. Now all I see is concrete and corner stores here. We used to set bare feet on the sticks and stones. Now you clothe them in plastic and hide in your homes. We used to roam, we didn't need to build Rome. You wanted a factory, the ground was the coals. What's the cost of this global onslaught? The lot of the cattle for to stay on top.
What have you done to the earth, my friends?
Yeah, what have you done?
What will your life be worth, my friends?
Living just for the day, you have no past. Just for the day, there's nothing that lasts.
What have you done to your soul, my friends?
Just in the day, you have no past. Just for the day, there's no way to last.
You cannot make things whole, my friends. If you are living just for today, just for today.
We have been waiting, anticipating. Will the one special one come today? We have been hoping, but barely coping in a world that's gone astray. And what if the one special one never comes? And what if we discover that we ourselves are the ones we have been waiting for? Not just you and me, but everyone, not just he and she, but everyone, not just they and them, but everyone together. Not just here and there, but everywhere, not just near and far, but everywhere, not just where we are, but everywhere together. Not just now and then, but all the time, not just if and when, but all the time, not just if we can, but all the time together. We are the ones we've been waiting for, all of us together. Everyone, everywhere, all the time, everyone, everywhere, all the time, everyone, everywhere, all the time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Not just you and me, but everyone, not just he and she, but everyone, not just they and them, but everyone together. Not just here and there, but everywhere, not just near and far, but everywhere, not just where we are, but everywhere together. Not just now and then, but all the time, not just if and when, but all the time, not just if we can, but all the time together. We are the ones we've been waiting for, all of us together. We are the ones, we are the ones we've been waiting for.
This song is very special to me. I am Jewish and very committed to my faith. And because I work widely in the interfaith community, I have encountered many people who feel just as strongly about their faith as I feel about mine. So this song gave me an opportunity to enter deeply into the heart of someone who is devoted to their religious tradition. And even though it's not mine, I can totally understand it.
If you're going around the bend and you reach the end, you're in need of a friend, then you come to the right place. Come to the right place. Oh, Jesus is here for you. Baptize you first, God will quench your thirst, and the devil will be cursed. You come to the right place. To the right place. Oh, Jesus is here for you.
Can you tell me what this song that you're singing today means to you?
It means a lot to me because I wasn't supposed to be alive when I was a baby. I almost died in crib death, and my grandmother and God brought me back, my great-great-grandma. And then I ended up having typhoid fever. They was not looking for me to live then. Put it like this, I'm a cat past 9 lives in my life today. I've had strokes, heart attacks, major heart attack, 2010, I almost passed. I've had 3 kids. They would have made it, but I wouldn't have if it wasn't for the good Lord. Jesus is here for you. They did surgery on me with her still in me at 6 months pregnant to take my appendix out. So I saw, when they put me to sleep, I saw the light, and they thought I was gone then with my daughter still in me. And when I came to, it was a miracle because it was a black doctor who came in General Hospital. I had been there for 2 days in the lobby with my appendix about to erupt. And this black doctor walked in, and he was an Indian doctor with a big white natural white coat, and he just touched me, and he says, how long has this lady been laying here? And they said, for 2 days. And he said, get her ready for surgery right now. So when they got me ready, I saw the light and I heard the voice, and he let me know, it's not time for you to come home yet. You still got work to do. Oh, they thought they had lost me. He's like, we're so glad to have you back, Miss Bell. I was like, I'm glad to be back. Okay, where's the doctor? The doctor with the big natural, and he's an Indian. And the doctor looked at me, he says, I'm your doctor. And he was a Caucasian with glasses. I was like, no, you're not. You're not my doctor. Where is the doctor with the big natural? And it was like, I asked a nurse, I asked everybody that was around in General Hospital. And that was my angel again, to save me and bring me back. Jesus is here for you. Oh, yeah. This song means a lot to me because every time I went through anything in life, I always say, God, if you get me out of this, I'll do better. If you're not quite sure, but your motives are pure, and your soul needs a cure, then you come to the right place. Then you come to the right place. I've been through a lot, but thank God I am still here.
And Jesus is here for you.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
She just has the devil be cursed.
Right.
Can you try that?
Okay. Devil be cursed. The devil be cursed.
Do you understand, though, that the person who wrote that song, right, is not Christian?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God. You're not for real. They did good. Even if they're not Christian, they wrote it from the heart. For our iniquities he died, but rest assured he's still alive. When you open up your heart, Jesus will play his part. It's a beautiful song. Oh, yeah.
I want to thank all of you who have supported the musical until now. It is so gratifying to know how many people, both here in the United States and abroad, resonate with and appreciate the theme, celebrating our cultural and religious diversity, our grand cultural and religious diversity. And for those of you who haven't heard the first album, you can go to the website and you can order a special anniversary edition of both albums, volume 1 and 2. Thank you in advance. And just know that when you purchase these albums, you will be helping the musical come that much closer to being in theaters and schools everywhere. Thank you so much. Enjoy the music. Long live Interfaith.
There's a field out there beyond all right and wrong. There's a field out there of peace for which we long. There's a field out there where you and I belong. Come, oh come, meet me there.
So now you have a sense. That was backstage. I wanted you to see the rehearsal and I wanted you to hear the interview with Stephanie Bell, because as you can imagine, for a Christian to sing that song and then to realize that it was written by a Jewish woman and not by another Christian, and to believe that whoever wrote it understood how Christians feel, that was very meaningful to me. And the truth is that that is not something I could have done 20 years ago. But I think after working in the interfaith community for so many years, you get to a point where you actually can put on someone else's shoes and you get to understand their belief and you understand the power of their belief, and you know it's the same as in your own faith. It's just a different path, but it is the same intensity and has the same integrity and the same beauty. So how much time do I have left? Because if there are any questions, I just want to tell you what's happening. How much time do I have left? I can't hear you.
I think you have about 10 minutes by
Okay.
my clock. Yeah.
All right, so I wanted to play you one song from a public performance of the musical, but I just want to tell you where we're going. I'm working with a co-writer now out of Boston on the libretto. The libretto, for those of you who may not know, is actually the script, but it has all the lyrics to the songs written in so that whoever reads it can understand when the songs come and what they say. The songs are integral to the script because very often the songs not only give you a sense of who the character is, but they carry the story along. So when you read an ordinary film script, you wouldn't have any music in there. You would just have the actual dialogue, but the libretto has both. And so we finished Act 1, and Mary Grace and Sam have been such great supporters and admirers and helpers in this. They several times had me over to their home to present it at early stages. And then we had a stage reading not too long ago. The Act One has totally changed, Mary Grace and Sam. It's changed because it had to change. Sorry. I'm sorry about that. It very heavily relies on the Native American cosmology as well, and three of the main actors are going to be Indigenous people, and so it's current, it's relevant, it has to do with the environment, it has to do with all the issues that we're dealing with currently in the interfaith, as well as the backgrounds of the two families that are involved. And I'm hoping that, I'm so sorry about that. And I'm hoping that by early next year, we'll have a stage reading of the entire play. You'll all be invited. And that's when we get feedback from people, and that's when we see what works and what doesn't work and what still has to be revised. So it may take another, I would say, 6 months to even a year before it's finally on the stage. In the meantime, I'm looking for producers or directors or theaters that are interested in mounting a production. There are a lot of people in the cast, but mounting a production that is representative of who we are today in the world. I think we haven't had a chance to see that much like that in theater or in movies, but it's happening more and more on television. I'm seeing it happen on in films and so forth. And this will be a production which will include people from all the different faiths. And I'm totally committed to bring it to the stage, but of course I need help from people such as yourselves. So one of the things that I would request is that you order the albums, but you also tell your friends about it. The actual release date for volume 2 is December 2nd, and I'm going to be having a release party online on Zoom and Facebook, and I'll let you all know about it, and I hope you can come, and we'll have some fun together and talk about the future of the musical and hear what you all have to say as well. So the last video I want to play is 4 minutes long, but let me take a moment and see if there are any questions. Oh, okay, so.
Ruth, very quickly, I just a pleasure being with you here today, and I went to Israel in 1984 in a Christian pilgrimage. I just saw the Jewish people peripherally. I would have loved to have really been with a family and knowing how they live, but I have my heart goes to the Jewish people. Thank you for your sharing, and I send you something in the chat.
Okay, thank you. I look forward to reading it later. Okay, anything else?
Samuel here.
Samuel.
I have a question. I know there's a lot involved in taking this wonderful channeled material to a professional level. A lot of heart and soul, labor and love. How are you financing all this?
Well, a few years ago, I did an Indiegogo campaign, and I raised some money for that. But right now, I'm probably going to have to do additional fundraising because there is just so much involved that one doesn't even consider. When you're going, you know what? When I made all my documentary films, people would always say to me, well, how are you going to raise the money? I said, I don't know. I'm going to make them first, and then I'm going to figure out how to raise the money. Here's what I've discovered, my friends. If you wait until all the conditions are right, you won't do it. You start when the conditions are adverse and when the challenges are there, and then you just, step by step, you figure it out. I had a very dear friend who was killed riding her bike, by the way, a year ago, who was one of my great supporters and who regularly contributed both to my films and to the musical. And, she's gone now. So she wanted to take this all the way to Broadway with me, and I know she would have helped. So I'm relying on the kindness of strangers, and mostly though on people who know me and who know the work I'm doing and want to support this. So if any of you have any ideas of how I could raise more money for it, I welcome all the ideas. right now. I'm just working really hard on the script, because I have been introduced to a number of people who have either produced shows on Broadway or have acted in them. And the consensus was from all of them, this is great, the music is fantastic, but what's the story? That nobody wants to move ahead until they've seen a finished script, right? And so the key thing right now, and I had to hire a co-writer because this is what I wanted you all to think about too. We don't know what avenues we're going to tread. I never dreamed I would be writing a musical. I'm a film person, and I had to learn an entire new language to write something for the stage. In a film, you can put in the notes, she raises her right eyebrow, right? But on the stage, the people in the last row, on the main floor are not going to see that eyebrow raise. So everything has to be action. Every scene has to move towards the next scene. You can't have a luxurious scene of countryside with beautiful music playing in the background and you're considering what the main actor is thinking. No, that doesn't work in theater. Something dramatic has to happen in every scene. And so I've had to revise my way of telling a story, and I needed coaching. And the man that I first asked to coach me ended up joining me to co-write it because he really liked the story. I could tell when he started talking about the characters as if they were real, I knew he was hooked. And so I asked him, but I need to pay him every time when we work together, and we work together once or twice a week for several hours. So again, if you have any ideas for raising money, I welcome them. And in the meantime, the best support you could give me is to buy albums and tell your friends about it. And that would be really helpful.
There's a field out there beyond all right and wrong. There's a field out there of peace for which we long. There's a field out there where you and I belong. Come, oh come, meet me there. There's a field out there beyond our history. There's a field out there beyond our memory. There's a field out there till now we couldn't see. Come, oh come, meet me there. Come, come, don't delay. This is the promise of a new day. Come, right this way. A promise of a brand new day. There's a field out there where beliefs do not divide. There's a field out there where we can view all sides. There's a field out there where loves are only guide. Come, oh come, meet me there. There's a field out there There's a field out there beyond all right and wrong. There's a field out there of peace for which we long. There's a field out there where you and I belong. Come, oh come, meet me there.
We'd like to thank Ruth for her incredible presentation, and we hope to see you back soon.